2024 at 6:30 p.m. This is the regular meeting for Lafayette Township Board of Trustees and Fire District. The notice requirements in section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code and implementing rules adopted by the board pursuant thereto were complied with for the meeting. Roll call.
Rowley here.
Fullerton here.
O'Neill here. Stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Minutes for approval. We've got meeting minutes from June 3rd, July 8th, and July 23rd. I think we've all seen copies of the circulated edits. Any questions, comments?
None.
Motion to approve?
I would move to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, June 3rd, 2024, July 8th, 2024, and July 23rd, 2024 minutes are all approved. Consent agenda. You've all received the reports from the departments?
Yes.
Yes, including services.
From June, correct. We've got last month and this month from service. Any questions, comments?
No.
No.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. Fiscal officer is not here tonight. She is traveling for work. So hopefully nobody has specific questions for her. Rick is also unavailable tonight for service, but a couple items for service. The town hall, the drywall's been hung. It needs to be mudded, finished, and painted. And then we've got flooring scheduled to come in August 19th, I believe. So I'm hoping it's wrapped up and completed by the end of the month, but I would like to make a motion to extend the town hall closure until August 31st, through August 31st.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then we had,
And Chris, you said the 19th.
Correct. We have discussed in the past the pavilion, the new pavilion down at Lions Park. I think we are in the process of getting picnic table quotes. We're thinking maybe 2 rows of 5 picnic tables down there. I think Kristen was asking the Boy Scouts on the cost for picnic tables, and then Rick's been working with somebody from the Medina County Parks to find out where they get their picnic tables, but they've got like a steel frame and wooden planks are attached for the tabletop and the benches, so probably discuss that further next meeting, I imagine.
Okay. I did have a question. I don't know if he had mentioned it to you, Chris. The last couple of months, he's been patching holes on Deerview, Carlton, Lance, and Egypt. Any concerns, or they're just random, or does he have any concerns with those?
I don't think he
guys?
has anything, no major plans right now. The Ballas Road issue that we discussed last week, or last month, where the culvert was replaced. So there's not a whole lot we can do now. That pavement was reinstalled per spec, so they couldn't really change it. However, we probably will be replacing a culvert farther north next year, and maybe then we can do some additional milling and even it out. But for right now, there's really nothing, no plans for it. Fire, Chief Kavanaugh?
How's everybody doing? So, the month of July, we had 64 incidents. It was Chatham once, City of Medina twice, Guilford Township twice, Lafayette Township, we had 39 calls, Chippewa Lake, we had 6 calls, Glory Glens, we had 13, and Westfield Township, we had 1. 80% of those were EMS calls, and the rest were fire and other calls. 41 were in the daytime and 23 were overnight. Our turnout time is 1 minute and 48 seconds. 2 minutes and 5 seconds is the year-to-date turnout time, so still tracking very well, and 6 minutes and 31 seconds to get on scene. And we gave mutual aid to Seville twice, Medina City once, Chatham once, and we received mutual aid 4 times this past month. Couple of things we've done, we had a great time this year at the Chippewa Lake 4th of July Parade. We had approximately 12 firefighters and their families participating this year. Our department assisted with coverage for the Medina County Fair by providing an ambulance for 3 special events and assisting in fire safety inspections of barns and food trucks. Kelly Parker, Noah Gable, and Isaiah Helton completed their firefighter level 2 course. Their state test is gonna be next week. And Kelly Parker and Tara Powell just began paramedic school. It's a year long and it's a arduous task, but they're gonna do really well at it.
They just started?
Just started, this
Okay.
first class was this past week, so
Okay.
they're gonna have about a year of intense studying, so they're doing really well. We have been approved to receive $825,000 in grants, or no, I'm sorry, $38,825 in grants from the ambulance retention grant. For our year-to-date total is $212,802. So doing really well with the grant writing. So hydrant testing was completed this past month for the year. Yearly hose testing and ladder testing was completed on July 9th. Our door access controls were completed this month, so we're not having any issues at this time now with the doors. We're still working on gathering additional ambulance quotes. Then I don't know if Laura was here or not, but I got a package for a new hire. We'd like to hire Dennis Bosch. Dennis is a full-time Macedonia firefighter, paramedic. He's a fire inspector, instructor, a hazmat technician, and he's the zone coordinator for Cuyahoga County's hazmat team. And he'll bring a valuable skill set and knowledge to Lafayette Township. And he has had his BCI and FBI background check.
Thank you.
I got ahead of you on that one. And then Mike Savetsky, our captain, is resigned as a captain. He's gonna take a leave of absence for the next few months and decide kind of what his future will be with the fire department. Mike has served 20 years with the department, and he just has a lot going on right now. And then my last couple things, I'd like to return that captain position to its original pay rate of $24 an hour. This position, once filled either temporary or as an interim position, or as a permanent position, would be part of the staffing crew of 3 on an 8, 12, or 24-hour shift. It would not be an extra position any longer. And again, this position is important for the successful succession plan for and the future of our fire department. So that's all I have. I can't see you guys anymore with this speaker. I'm gonna do this.
Oh. Yeah, these are new, so if you can't hear us, we're trying to get them a little closer.
I'm loud enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are. I would make the motion to hire Dennis Bosch.
Well, before we do that, I would like to add one thing, just because it came up, I had a question since the last meeting about all the hiring.
Yeah.
Just to clarify for everybody, we haven't changed anything with the staffing
No.
within the department. So when we discussed these hires, these are just new members that ultimately wind up being available for the pool of hours that we already have set. So we're not increasing shifts and payroll, and I mean, I guess on a small level, depending on certifications, it could
Right.
with hourly pay, but
Right.
it's not just adding more people to the payroll. So
And the turnout gear is, we haven't bought any new turnout gear other than on grants. And if we do need turnout gear for these newer firefighters, there's the grant money we just received from the state fire marshal, which is for 4 sets of turnout gear.
thank you.
So we won't be we won't have it, there's no cost, at least because of these grants, to hire these new people. And what we're doing is bringing in highly skilled, highly qualified people to work shifts here when and if they can, as much as they can. Some work 3 or 4 a week, some work might be 1, some maybe work 3 times a month, and I'll take that because we have 3 days that we have paramedic coverage where we may not have had it before, so.
And it was Dennis Bash.
Dennis Bosch, yeah.
Bosch.
Bosch.
With that, I'll second the motion to approve, or to hire Dennis Bosch.
Okay, motion to hire Dennis Bosch with the fire district All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Brian, was that it for your report? Because I wanted to talk a little bit about, scheduling and issues you've been having with scheduling.
Sure, but the other, I don't know if we need to accept that $36,000 for the ARPA first responder, it's ARPA first responder funds. That is a ambulance retention grant. We've received it before, and these will be bonuses for the firefighters and EMTs. So,
Is it the exact same stipulations as last year?
yes,
Okay. There's no additional requirements from us?
no, it's I report how the funds were distributed, and then I do a follow-up in a year
Okay.
on how they impacted our department or retention, so.
Right.
I'd make a motion to approve the ambulance retention grant.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Anything else for me?
Did you have
Yeah,
something?
yeah, I wanted to talk about your scheduling. You and I have been talking about scheduling issues and starting to gather holes in the schedule. And if you can kind of let everyone know what issues you've been dealing with and how we can try to correct it.
Well, I don't know if it's a fluke or summer months, but we have had struggles to keep or get people to stay overnight. The stipend is an issue. I know that that's been a big issue. For a lot of times with these highly skilled firefighter twos, paramedics with a lot of years of service, they're like, oh, I'm not staying over, I don't wanna stay overnight. It's when you break it down, it's, if you're a $20 an hour employee, it's, like $16.25 for a 24-hour shift is what you're making. If you break it down with the stipend and or $16.50, I'm sorry. So the whole 24 hours, if you worked an 18 hours paid at $20 an hour, got a $30 stipend, and didn't go on any calls overnight, then you're making $16.50 an hour for the 24 hours you're here, so. And paramedics typically make $24 to $30 an hour. I'm not saying that we'd ever get to that level here, but
So
we
in
just
those,
pay them hourly.
in those situations, they're just staffing the 16
They're
and then opting not to
18
take
or they're working, they staff a 12, or they staff they might staff, it's a hodgepodge, especially over the summer months. We've been struggling people are busier and people are on vacations. Like right now we have, I think 6 of our guys decided that they all went on vacation together down to the hurricane lands of Florida, so hopefully they're doing all right, but, and, another one of our firefighters had surgery. I mean, there's, one of our, lieutenants, Scott O'Ring, is going on a cruise tomorrow. He worked all weekend through his birthday. I mean, he's just a dedicated guy, but that's kind of the situation we're in. It's partly summer, I would think, but I think a lot of it is we're getting to a point where we're struggling to, like this month, and I didn't bring them with me, but I was counting up EMT coverage. We've had, I think, 13 shifts this month is there's not medics. This past Saturday, I worked a 12-hour shift. Scott worked half of my shift for me, but I came in on a Saturday, worked a 12-hour shift, and just because we don't have medics, so this weekend will be the same thing again, so it's just a struggle. Yes, sir.
And we lost one more to a full-time.
Oh, and we lost Luke Rodak this past week, actually, to a full-time fire job up in, North Ridgeville, yeah, so. Once they get their fire 2 paramedic, they're hopefully gonna stay, and hopefully Luke will stay, but he lives in Brunswick Hills, so, and he's on Brunswick Hills and he was on Lafayette, so I think his choice will be Brunswick Hills, so they make $22 an hour and they get paid 24 hours a day, so. And he lives there, so, that's the struggle.
He can buy a house in Lafayette.
He could, yeah.
But, so, do you feel that if we were able to pay 24 hours as opposed to the stipend, that would,
Possibly,
I
yeah,
mean-
I think so, absolutely, I mean, I think so, yeah, I think if we could pay 24 hours and a fair wage, we could probably do okay. And I think we're doing okay, I think it's a struggle this past few months, it's been summer, so it's a very big struggle,
Sure.
but to keep the schedule filled, but it's starting to hit that tipping point, I think, so, we're getting close to the tipping point. We'll see, I mean, we'll see how the fall goes, I guess, and how it looks like schedule-wise and how people are signing up, things like that, so. All right,
Thanks.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
I have a
Did-
question
Yes,
for the fire chief.
sure.
I guess the first thing I'll ask is when I rolled up, there's, 5 cars out in the parking lot, in the fire peak over there. Are those people in the firehouse, are they working now?
No, there's only 2 people working right now.
Oh, cause there's 5 cars over there, that's why.
So,
That's-
some people come in to work out, some people work out during the
Okay.
day. Myself and Tim are salaried people.
Yeah, I don't know where you.
So that's two more cars, so there's
Okay.
2 cars that are working, me and Tim, and maybe
Yeah.
Phil Willis is here working out. That's kinda how it goes.
Okay, so there's 2 people on payroll now,
Yes,
okay, and then
2
my.
EMTs only right
Right.
now, there is no
No
paramedic,
fire-
I'm the
right.
paramedic. If I get a call right now, I might have to go.
Okay, and then when you talk about the staying over the stipend, so when they're here, they usually sleep, do they usually sleep here? Do they go to sleep or are they awake? Like,
No, they
when
go-
you work third shift in a factory,
Mhm.
you're awake and you're working.
Right,
When you work third shift here, are you awake and working?
so you are not the whole time, no, but you get woken up for a call.
Oh,
and
sure,
you're on
yeah.
call, right,
Yeah.
yeah, but you're not, no, typically not.
Okay, so,
No, they're not working like all night long, but you can't do that. Would you want somebody to stay up all night and then drive an ambulance down 162 with no sleep?
well, no, well,
And now we don't have staffing, so they're working 48 hours.
no,
and
what
that's
I'm
what they're
saying
doing.
is that, no, what, the reference that I made was that when you work third shift,
Mhm.
your body is used to working third shift.
Right,
So you stay up all night.
they don't.
And so what happens is that, what I can see happening is that they work, they sleep here, they get up, and they go to work somewhere else?
Sometimes they do, yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes they're up all night.
Okay,
Yeah, because they're here all night. If they get a good night's sleep, meaning
they don't get calls.
midnight, and they don't get calls, midnight to 06, they get up in the morning, they go and they might go to Seville, they may go to whatever department in Cleveland, or
Okay.
a lot of full-time departments don't allow that. So that's another problem why we can't have people spending the night, or the paramedic fire twos that have full-time jobs have to be off shift anywhere else they work at a certain hour before their next day's shift on
Right,
their
I
full-time department.
can see that, yeah.
So that's a challenge, and, so yeah, they do sleep, and then when they get up, but I've done it for 25 years, I know Tim's done it for 40 years. When you get up in the middle of the night, you don't just come back to your bed
Oh,
and
no.
go right to sleep, especially if it was an intense call or a difficult call or something, you're sitting there awake for 2 or 3 hours, and then you fall asleep for 2 hours and you're up the next day.
Yeah, and then you have to go to work somewhere else.
Right, or you gotta take care of babies and kids and
Yeah.
everything else, and that's
Reports.
you gotta write reports, right? Right, so it's a challenge,
Okay.
and it is, yeah.
I just wanted to understand the
No,
process.
yep, absolutely.
Thank you. Lieutenant Markham?
well, real quick, do we wanna address the other 2 things that Chief had on there? I mean, we had.
Sorry. Get a hook.
And a replacement for the position.
You certainly can.
Well, I mean, I think formally we have to, and since we're talking, I mean, I'd be open to a very short executive session if you guys wanted to discuss.
Sure.
Or we can do it without, I'm fine either way, but.
It's up to you, Chris.
No,
You
we'll
gotta
do a roll call vote, executive session to, discuss hiring, firing personnel.
And bring Chief Kavanaugh in.
Correct. The 3 of us, Chief Kavanaugh.
Yep.
Roll call vote.
Rolly, yes?
Fullerton, yes.
O'Neill, yes. Time is 6:50.
Do you wanna swear in the Medina police guys first, or? Can they?
And this shouldn't be more than
Okay, alright,
15
cool,
minutes
alright,
now.
I don't want these guys to. They gotta get out of the streets of Medina. Sorry, tried, Lieutenant.
I'm so glad I brought peanuts.
Okay, it is 7:07. We have returned from executive session, no decisions were made.
I would like to make a motion to accept the resignation of his captaincy position of Mike Savetsky, and approve a leave of absence until November 1st of 2024.
I'll second.
To clarify, that it's a permanent resignation from the captaincy.
Permanent resignation from
And
captaincy.
a leave of absence from the department altogether until
Until November 1st, at which point he'll meet with Chief for further.
discussion.
Yeah.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I would make a motion to, approve the intern captain position at $24 an hour, once the chief's ready to make that determination.
And the only thing I would add to that is a staffing position as opposed to a salaried position as we were doing before. So all in all, should actually probably reduce our hourly pay rate, our wages for staffing the department. And I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, Lieutenant Markham.
Real quick, we had 271 total calls last month. Some of the highlights were 11 alarms, 10 auto crashes, 3 domestics, and 38 agency or fire department assists. Reminder, tomorrow night is National Night Out at the Medina Rec Center. It starts at 5:30 p.m. Hopefully the weather holds off for us. We do have 2 new officers that we'd like to swear in here at Lafayette. Nick Stanton grew up in Loudonville. He has a bachelor's degree from Baldwin Wallace. He worked for Oriana House in Corrections. He lives in Medina with his wife, and he just recently graduated the police academy, and he's currently in field training with another seasoned officer until probably around mid-October. Our second officer is Alex Bassanon. She grew up in Ashtabula County. She lives in Medina with her fiance. She has a bachelor's degree from Bowling Green. She did an internship with us during college, and then also worked for us part-time as a records clerk. She recently graduated from the police academy as well, and she's also in field training with a seasoned officer until mid-October. So if we can swear them in, that'd be great.
So you wanna come on up? If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Nicholas Stanton,
I, Nicholas Stanton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the resolutions of Lafayette Township.
and the resolutions of Lafayette Township.
I will faithfully discharge the duties of a police officer for Lafayette Township,
I will faithfully discharge the duties of a police officer for Lafayette Township,
to which I have been appointed according to the law and the best of my ability,
to which I have been appointed according to law and to the best of my ability,
consistent with its contract with the City of Medina Police Department.
consistent with its contract with the City of Medina Police Department.
Congratulations.
C16.
I, Alex Passanen,
I, Alex Passman,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the resolutions of Lafayette Township.
and the resolutions of Lafayette Township.
I will faithfully discharge the duties of a police officer for Lafayette Township,
I will faithfully discharge the duties of a police officer for Lafayette Township,
to which I have been appointed according to the law and the best of my ability,
to which I have been appointed according to the law and to the best of my ability,
consistent with its contract with the City of Medina Police Department.
consistent with its contract with the City of Medina Police Department.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Sherry, zoning?
Hi, everybody. For the month of July, we took in $5,303.40 in fees. I wrote 24 permits. The estimated value of these is $2,823,891.14. The year of 2024, the fees collected for permits to date are $33,028.47. I'm gonna give you an update on Fairway Landing right now. Fairway Landings, there's 2 phases that are left that have available lots. Phase 2 is over on Lake Road. It's not the first one, it's the second one. There's 3 lots available there. Phase 3, which is up here on Wedgewood, there's 4 lots available. There's 4 new homes being built in Fairway Landing, Phase 3 and Phase 2 right now, and that excludes these ones I just shared with you. We have 2 new homes being built right now on individual lots. One's on Egypt Road, one's on Chippewa Road. So our Board of Zoning Appeals, they held a variance hearing on July 16th for a resident that lives on Deerview Lane. The variance was approved. We received no variances for the month of August. So for the year 2024, there's only been 2 months, May and July, for the August, that we received no variances. We had 1 sign permit, and the reason I bring that up is because we haven't had a lot of sign permits. For the year, this will be, I think, the 2nd one. The property on Columbia Road that I had referred to in the past when I've been up here and talked about, take some time. I want all of you to understand this. When something's brought to the zoning inspector's attention, I'm working with other agencies too. And so I was working with Richard Nelson at the Medina County Building Department. So on July 31st, he sent out to the owner an adjudication, I think I pronounced that right, an adjudication order that they have to take action by August 31st because it is indeed an unsafe structure. And I have this resident in the front row to thank. She came into the office when I was working one day. I was there and Trustee Paroli was there. And she was talking to us about a resident on Shady Slope. Well, it turned out to be a solid waste nuisance complaint. So we started the process on June 18th, and I know today is August 5th. But again, these things take time. So I was working with Lane Kessler, the Medina County Health Department. It's not the first time I worked with her. They sent out a letter to the homeowner on July 15th. They have 30 days to clean things up, so they have the 30 days being August 14th. And when the trustees were back there, Linda, I'm gonna ask you, do you see progress?
Oh, there's been like I said, I am surprised that we did get some cooperation from them. And, because I know you can lean and you can lean, but they have cleaned it up considerably. It's not what it should be, but it's getting there.
And so then I was notified on Thursday of a total of 5 properties in Chippewa. 2 are on Euclid, 3 more are on Shady Slope.
Yeah.
But I was just notified Thursday, so honestly, I have not gone out and looked at them. I will this week, but I have not had a chance to look at them. So with that being said, I want to bring up something I want to talk about the tech park, Innovation Park. There's one person that I was expecting to be here tonight, but I don't see them here right now. But there's been a lot of, in the past, at the meetings, zoning commission meetings, as well as at some of the trustee meetings, that there were some people upset with the development, or I won't say lack of development back here in the tech park. I wrote a total of 4 permits for Ohio pools and patio. As a zoning inspector, my job is to enforce the current zoning laws that are in our current zoning book. So in April, I wrote one for their headquarters. This has been going on since March. I have a timeline here. It all started March 29th of 2023. At that time, I was sitting on the zoning board as the vice chair. These people from Ohio Pools and Patio were working with the Medina County Port Authority. They hired an attorney because they were getting frustrated because everything they wanted to do, the problem is their initial plans did not conform with our zoning. Well, I wasn't the zoning inspector then. There was somebody else that was a zoning inspector. It came through the zoning commission, we approved it. From there, it went to the Department of Planning Services, they approved it, but the trustees did not approve it. So they went back to the drawing board. In June 11th, 2024, they came back to us and they had a whole different plan and everything conformed. So I know there are some residents that could be upset with me because I did write those permits, but I was only doing my job. The permits, everything that they did, they conformed to everything we said. They bring us something and I say, oh, you can't do that. You can't have open storage. You have to cover your stuff. You have to. So at an expense to them, and that's the cost of doing business, they went back to the drawing board. So there will be Ohio Pools and Patio down here. And I have some people here tonight from Economic Development. Brandon, I think you're over there?
Yep.
Okay. So if anybody has any direct questions, I talked to both Bethany Dentler and I talked to Denise Testa today about it. And these people are here tonight, so if you have any direct questions, I mean, I can talk to you about the zoning things. But as far as development and things back here, those people know better what's going on than I do, and I'm not gonna stand up here and lie to you about that stuff. So if anybody has any questions directly about Ohio Pools and Patio, or anything else that I'm doing right now, now's your chance. Yes?
Just a quick question, because I don't know the answer to this. I remember going back about, I don't know, about a year and a half or so ago, maybe even 2 years ago. There was a discussion in these meetings that we were updating all our zoning stuff.
Yes, sir.
Is that all completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wait a minute, stop.
Okay.
I don't think anybody realizes when we say we're updating our zoning, how it works. For example, Justin, can I borrow that thing I gave you? There's a process that's involved. What I have right here in my hands is solar energy, okay? The zoning commission will put together things. What they'll do is they have a public hearing and they'll send it over to the Department of Planning Services. We get back from them, and we have to meet their deadlines, because if it's not there by the deadline, it doesn't go on their next agenda. So then you can see the markups they put on there? They'll say, oh, well, you should take that out. Now, we don't have to listen to what they say, they're recommendations, okay? So then we look at it when it comes back. So then we present it to the trustees. Well, that's exactly what happened with the tech park. We had it approved, they had it approved, but the trustees, and I'm not referring to the current board because Justin was not on the board, they did not approve it.
Okay.
So we are doing section by section, we're sending stuff over, like the solar panels. We've got a lot of solar panel activity happening, especially on Ballas Road right now. So we're taking sections at a time, and they're working on local commercial. We're not sending the whole book at once because that could take a while. It's better to get some things passed, and then down in the footer on our zoning book, we'll have dates when the different changes were made so that you know. So it's always a living document. The zoning book is not something that you can say, it's done. Because there's always gonna be something that's gonna come out, but we have to add it to the book. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Yes?
So what exactly are they building?
What they're building, and I brought the permits with me.
corporate?
Presently, what they're doing is in the Lafayette Township residents, okay? They are currently in Hinckley, that's where their current facility is. On April 16th, 2024, they're building a headquarters, and I have a picture of what it'll look like for anyone who wants to see it, but this is the permit. On June 21st, they came in, and they had asked to add some accessory buildings that go along with what they do for their business. So here's the one permit, and I have a picture of what it's gonna look like. You can see. For anybody that wants to see this. It looks nice, it's tasteful.
What exactly will they be doing?
What do they do? What they do is they build in-ground pools.
Yeah.
Okay? So they build in-ground pools, and what they do is in this building that they have, you can see there's totes in there. They have like these pellets, and these pellets will be like the inside, the different colors of the dyes for the inside of the pool. That's what they'll be storing in there. It has nothing to do with manufacturing, it's only storage. This particular permit, some of you might see this and you might smile, it kind of reminds me of our salt bin. Yeah. Doesn't it? This is what they went back to the drawing board for. Originally, they were gonna have outside storage with no covers over it. That was not gonna fly, that was not gonna conform. So it was Bill Thorne's suggestion, actually, to do something like this. Well, when I saw this, I immediately said, well, wait a minute, you need to have something on the front of that to cover that too. Because even though it's under stuff, won't stuff flow out of there? So they are gonna take care of that, and they will put some sort of cover up too. Last but not least, this was the one that really was hard, that a lot of people were having a hard time dealing with. This is a silo. This is what it looks like. It is not for manufacturing at all, okay? It's storage only. The only reason there are wheels on there is when they purchased this silo, it was transported via a trailer hitch from another state, and it was brought here. They're going to anchor that to the ground. So it will be anchored to the ground back there. It's not gonna be anything like a Medina Supply Company. That's not gonna be it at all. I have all their plans here. If anybody wants to see them when I'm in the office, you're welcome to come up there, look at them. These people have been very, very cooperative. They've been a pleasure to work with. So I didn't want you to think I was trying to sneak anything through. I only did my job, and this was a very stressful thing for me to handle it. It truly was.
Sherry,
Nothing like baptism by fire.
Sherry, where is it on permitting with the county and stuff? How far are they? Any idea?
I talked to her. In fact, she was gonna come tonight, but she was afraid. I told her, I said, that's okay, I'll take the heat. So, they're gonna be putting a driveway in first. That's where they're at right now. So, they're working with the health department, and they're doing samples and that type of thing. She says the whole thing, for them to get everything up, they're expecting it to take about 10 months. 10 months before everything is up exactly how they need it. And what I did was I had conferred with other zoning inspectors, and I specifically called Hinckley Township, talked to Tom Wilson, because I wanted to find out what kind of neighbors are we gonna have back here. And he told me how involved they are in the community in Hinckley, even though they live in Lafayette, they're really involved there, and I thought, why should we discourage somebody who lives right here in our township, who's going back to the drawing board every time we say, no, you can't do that. And they conformed to what we needed. They did what needed to be done. But again, it didn't go without stress, let me tell you. For both them and for me.
Being that this is just gonna be storage stuff you're talking about and not manufacturing.
They're not gonna do
Right.
manufacturing here.
Right. What type of vehicular traffic is involved in just storing stuff there?
I think she said they have a total of maybe 10 to 12 employees.
Okay.
They don't work Sundays at all. They don't work nights because they gotta be able to see, so that's not gonna happen. Pickup trucks, I mean, they're not gonna be moving that silo that I showed you.
Right.
their headquarters will be if somebody comes in or if they do training, and she said they work with other like pool companies too. They'll use it, the headquarters will be the training facility. The other ones, they'll just get the storage, they'll store the stuff there. So what kind of vehicular traffic? I understand where you're coming from. Is it gonna add to
Right.
Wedgewood? Because I know what Wedgewood and Ryan Road is like at around 4 o'clock. It's crazy.
And Lake coming from the
Lake.
other way is just as bad,
No
yeah.
kidding.
I can't say, I'm not gonna give you an answer, because I
Okay.
can't honestly say what it's gonna do. Is it gonna do a lot when you're gonna have that amount of employees? I mean, come on, that's not gonna do that much.
Huh?
It could be worse, it could be something else, it could be something really big,
Mhm.
I'm just happy because they're residents and they're happy to get this behind them, and trust me, so am I.
Outstanding job, Sherry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How big is that silo?
How big is the silo? I can give you that answer right now. It meets all the standards, I'll tell you that. Let's see. Okay, the silo is a total of,
You should have wanted
let's
that.
see, the height is 36 feet, 10 inches. 50 feet is our max, so it's 36'10", it's fine.
How is this all
I'll
tech?
stand up.
How's what?
This is a tech park, supposedly.
Okay, well, here's what I wanna talk to you about. The tech park has been here for probably, what, 20 years?
20 years.
Okay. There has not been a lot of interest back here based upon the way the language was. That's why the zoning commission decided, let's try and massage it a little, and let's try to get some businesses back here. I'm a volunteer with the Park District, and I'll tell you, I'd like green space too, but, we have Buckeye Woods, we have plenty of parks. And that's why I'm glad that they're here too, because they could talk a little bit more. When I talked to Bethany Dentler today, she said to me, there is a developer interested in the 19.5 acre parcel up there, but she wouldn't give me any details, so I don't know what it is. I just know that there's been a lot of interest in that parcel, because the price has been coming down, 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 to make it, somebody would be interested. I've told a couple people no already. One person wanted to put in a wedding venue there with cottages and make it like an event, like the people stay for a week. I said, you can't make that residential, you can't do that. Then another person called, wanted to do the same thing, and I said, no. Then another person wanted to come, and they wanted to put in a sports complex there, but it was gonna be 80 feet high. I said, nobody's gonna wanna drive down Wedgewood and see this like big dome type thing, like the salt bin. I go, we don't have fire trucks that have ladders that high. That's not gonna fly. So that didn't happen either. So I can't say no.
Good for you. Good job.
Yes.
Good
One
job.
question about the storage. If it's storage only, is that flammable materials there? And how flammable is it? And what toxicity is there?
I can't answer that. I honestly don't know. Justin, did you get anything out of our meetings about that?
No. But that would
Yeah.
fall under the county.
Portland cement. Not nuclear waste.
It's Portland cement.
How close?
It's cement mix.
I don't know that. All I did was, I was a part of all of these meetings, and I was basing it upon the fact that it was not gonna be manufacturing, because there was a lot of concern. Okay, it says here, the silo is used for storage of bulk dry cement powder. So that's what it is. It's not any sort of liquid or anything like that. It's bulk dry cement powder.
That's what was shot down last year.
This was shot down last year because nobody clearly understood what the purpose of it was. There was a lot of concern it was gonna be manufacturing, and it's not manufacturing.
The big
It's
concern
storage.
is the dust from that silo.
But
And
it's
that's gonna
totally a sealed unit. It's a sealed unit. I mean, can they open it from the top? They can,
be-
yes.
They loaded from the top. They
What
loaded
was-
from the top.
What
What?
was shot down, just to clarify, what was shot down last year was not a specific application, it was a text amendment change to the entire park.
That's what was shot down.
That was shot down, so the current code, the code that existed prior to that proposed amendment change is what rules the park. The applications that came in,
Section 307 of our zoning, they conform to everything.
the zoning application, the permit application that came in, all four of those were reviewed. Sherry reviewed them in detail, she had outside assistance, both legal counsel and other zoning inspectors. One thing you have to remember with zoning permits, they're not may issue, they're shall issue. If it meets your code, you have no grounds to turn it down, we don't get a choice. Anything other than that, you're asking you know, to be litigated and lose.
And they
So
did
the
say they were
applications
going
that-
to.
The applications that came in were reviewed, they meet the current code as it stands. The
So the
permits
code
have
will
to be issued.
switch from tech to whatever you wanna do.
The tech isn't, I mean, I get where you're coming from, you know, as far, it's one of the name, but light manufacturing has been in the code for a long time. You're correct in that the name is not a perfect control, you know, it's not a perfect descriptor for what's permitted there. But the code's what controls, not the name, unfortunately.
When we had the hearing last year, zoning was told, tighten it back up to the way it was. And that didn't happen.
Nothing changed last year.
Nothing.
Yeah, there hasn't been any changes to the code at all.
There were some, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, for,
In order for this to be happening, there's been dramatic changes in the code from 20 years ago.
the current tech park language is the same as it has been for.
It's the same,
I don't
it's
know
right
when the
here.
most recent
That never would
revision,
have been permitted.
but if you look at the language now, it's permitted. And
The language has changed, and how and why.
I don't know when the last time the tech park language was changed, but it.
1/7/15.
15. So to your comment, yes, 20 years ago, the tech park language was different.
Yes.
But in 2015 is when it was changed, not last year.
Was not
It was
changed.
changed in
We
2015.
tried to change it last
The
year, and
current-
the trustees wouldn't.
The current controlling code for tech park is 9 years old.
Yes.
I would like to add down, we got an answer, is concrete powder, is the
Yes.
word I heard? I had a friend who drove semi for Medina Supply when they had the concrete block plant up there on Marks Road, not too far from the fairgrounds. And I would like to add that it's a completely sealed system. The truck backs up, I don't know how they blow that powder out of the semi, but it's a tube that goes into the bulk tank, or I guess in this case, a silo. And I can understand, you don't want dust around, I agree. But from what I understand, there shouldn't be probably more dust coming off of whatever, you know, back by the, where they grind up the concrete stuff there, by the, that E-check station.
Yeah.
That is dusty. Now, how dusty it is, I don't know, I ain't been back there, I don't live there. But I wouldn't wanna have dust either, I agree with you. But as far as I can tell, if this system is as I understand it, I think we're okay.
And I invite anybody that questions this, you are more than welcome to come in and sit down with me, and I will share with you everything I have. I haven't filed this, I mean, this stuff, April, I wrote the thing, I have not filed any of this, because I kind of figured there'd be some residents wanting to come in, and I didn't wanna have to pull stuff, so I've been carrying this around everywhere I go. If you have any other questions related to Innovation Park District, ask me, or we do have the people here from Economic Development, and they're trying to bring businesses in here, because we have a lot of land here, and it would be nice to have some businesses in the township.
Payroll tax and, real estate tax.
Thank you, Sherry. Yeah. We will now move to the scheduled public hearing for the solar language, where we are actually having a public hearing to change zoning code language again. This was started with Diane, Sherry, when was the zoning commission first, when they first sent the language to the CPC for approval? I think back in May, so the changes started with the zoning commission. They went through their process, came up with revisions, new language, held their meeting, sent it to the CPC. CPC provided comments back. The commission itself held a public hearing as to whether or not they were going to accept that language. Ultimately, they did accept it with some revisions, I believe.
It's a little bit of a process.
Right, and I think that was what, the July 9th meeting, is that?
For which one? For our zoning commission to
Yes,
approve this to us?
yes. And then, once it came to us was, I think, the 24th, so we immediately set the hearing date for tonight, concurrent with this meeting. So that's where we're at now. The changes have been available at the admin building for several days, probably a month, close to it. So at this point, we can open up the floor to any questions for or against the potential zoning changes. Easy enough, huh? Do you want, we want to read it, and again, it's just for section 223, it's not crazy long.
Correct, and just to provide a little background, I mean, we had, what, 3 variances, I believe, in the last year over solar panels, and that's because our code was extremely outdated compared to the technology. It was extremely restrictive, and that's the part that Sherry was mentioning earlier about the importance to kind of revisiting these issues when they come up. So, you know, the zoning commission took it upon themselves to study other townships. How they address it, put their code together, went through the process of sending it to CBC for comments, as Trustee O'Neill stated. If there's no comments, the only thing that I would have for the board, one of the modifications that they recommended, was section D, glare, from solar panels. And, you know, without having attended their meeting, but in reviewing it and discussing with legal counsel, I think the reason that they recommended potential modifications in that section is just from an enforceability standpoint.
Yeah.
So my recommendation would be to adopt the zoning text as written, striking that section, but then leaving everything else. So I guess technically E would then become D, F would become E, and strike D, the glare piece. But that's kind of where I'm at
Yeah,
with it.
I think that makes sense as well. I would make a motion to pass the language changes as proposed with the exception of the glare paragraph.
You both need.
Well, you brought it up.
I just brought it up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chris made the motion. Do you have any comments?
No, I don't.
Okay,
No,
then I'll
that's
second
good.
it.
Yeah.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. This language now, they would get, what, 5 days to file it with the recorder's office?
Right, it takes
And then
effect
it
in
takes
30
effect in
days.
30
30 days from today.
Right. Now, Justin, that's the copy you're crossing out.
Correct.
Yep.
And it's the one that's been published, so it's exactly what was presented to everybody. And again, just to note, it was section D on glare was what was stricken. Everything else is gonna remain the same.
Okay, if no other, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, before you jump to public participation, I did wanna, we have Dave Corrado from,
Yes.
yeah, well, not Medina Fiber, but he's with,
Medina
the County Fiber Network.
The other fiber.
We had talked about it previously, at previous meetings, we had talked about, you know, we had obviously the issue with the administration building going down for a while because of the phone connectivity issues and everything like that, so that's what it led me to start doing some digging, and I had sent you guys both, you know, kind of the proposals that we received back, mid last week. Right now, the way that it's set up is we share internet between the 2 buildings. So phones, internet service, everything like that, our building up here at the fire district and at the admin building and service are all the same. So that's that $300 a month Medina dark fiber bill that we pay. And then additionally, we have, our internet service, obviously IP, or, internet and phones, which runs about $780 a month that we split between the 2 buildings. We discussed obviously, and maybe you can update us on this, but KGC currently has the IT support contract for the fire district at the $22.50 a month, and we had that kind of back and forth on where the township fell on that. I know we've kind of tabled that, but I mean,
As it stands now with that, since we've made the upgrade to the admin, it's really seamless, so it's basically it's treated as one entity. The fire
so if
district
we
is-
need service down there, it's gonna be covered under that? Okay. So the reason I bring all that up is because right now, between the two buildings with internet and IT service, we're paying about $3,500 a month for everything. What Dave put together for us with Lightspeed was the ability to separate the two entities, which would eliminate that $300 connectivity fee every month, and provide dedicated service for both the fire district and for the township. So there wouldn't be that risk of an outage or interruption here or there knocking the other out. It would also give us separate phone networks and IP phones, both of those. But where we're getting at is basically we could have both entities for about $1,000 a month. So the total bill, what we're currently paying about $3,500 for, would run right around $2,000, depending on how many devices we connect. And that includes built-in IT support for both entities as well. So it would be a full-on replacement for what we currently have. It would cover everything. What that basically does is it would reduce the operating expenses for the fire district because the KGC contract comes out of that exclusively. It would soften the budget by about $18,000 annually for the fire district and increase the township side of things by roughly $8,000 because you have separate IT, separate internet and phones down there. Where the advantage comes in is, one, that still already nets us about a $10,000 a year savings, and by going to IP phones, we would actually be able to replace all of our cell phone plan. We'd basically be able to eliminate the cell phone plan because the IP phones would allow us to just put a app on everybody's current cell phones to run dedicated, like we'd still have dedicated control over that phones, and it could be turned on and off, but all call logs and calls could still be recorded and controlled by the township stuff. So, you know, eliminating the cell phones would be another $3,600 a year savings. So I know it gets a little bit muddy, but you know, it significantly reduces the township or the fire district's budget, which could definitely use the help. And then slightly increases our operating costs down at the township. Plus, makes Laura's job easier because instead of having to constantly, you know, split bills between the two entities, since we have to keep separate books, they'd be completely separate.
Right.
So, you know, I'd be looking to move to make a change on that as soon as we can.
Well,
And Dave's here to answer any questions you guys might
yeah.
have too, so.
When I got this, well, you sent it late Thursday night, so I started working on it Friday and today, so not much time, and it's a whole lot of information. I'm sure you've been working on this for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
What-
yeah.
Dave, where's Dave? You're Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm confused, Dave. You're with Medina County Fiber, but the quote's from Lightspeed, 2 different entities?
Right, so Medina County Fiber Network's been around for 15 years. We're owned by the Medina County Port Authority. We have 14 network carriers that provide internet, voice, and data center services over our fiber. So we are a neutral, open network, and any carrier who comes to us that would like to utilize our fiber network, we have a certain contract with them, memorandum of understanding, master service agreement, etc., then they can join our network. Lightspeed Hosting is one of the local carriers that came to us when Jason asked us to take a look at what we might be able to offer, splitting out the services. They are a local network provider. They happen to do not only internet and voice, but they also own 3 data centers, and they do the full network management. So again, KGC could have come to us and said, we want to put together a solution. We worked with them in the past. We work with hundreds of companies. Lightspeed their headquarters are in Medina on Route 18. So that's why we allow the carrier to invoice the customer so you don't receive 2 bills. So we invoice Lightspeed Hosting for the fiber that they're using on a monthly basis, and you receive 1 invoice. Your first call is to Lightspeed Hosting. They have a 24/7 network operations center, so you will always get a person there when you call, even if it's 3 in the morning. But they do monitor our services. are a little bit higher than perhaps other fiber companies. We monitor the circuit 24/7. So the temperature, humidity, or the lights go out, we're gonna know it before you do, because our equipment requires that.
I guess my question is, Justin, Dave, am I talking to Lightspeed when I'm asking them questions? Cause I wanna make sure that we're comparing apples to apples, cause there's a lot of stuff I think that's missing on their quote. That I think we're getting service already, from KGC, so, do I talk with Lightspeed? I mean, who typed up the quote?
Yeah,
Josh
we'll
would
work
probably-
together so
Josh.
we can establish a meeting for you,
Yeah,
because there are two pieces of this, one's the fiber and then one's the service, so we
Yeah.
try to stay in the meetings together.
okay.
And Josh would be who you would bring out again.
Joshua Holmes is the CEO.
So some of my concerns, I just had wrote down, just a little scratch pad, looking over the quotes. One for the township, one for the fire district. Server support, camera support, do they have a ticket system, for work orders? Do they do cloud backups, Office 365, faxing, mail spam protection? Just to name a few, just,
It sounds like it probably would make sense,
Have a meeting.
to set up a meeting, you know, obviously, I've had the opportunity to sit down with both of them when I sat down with a couple of the other, potential IT solutions. Theirs was, you know, what I felt was by far the best, so I think, you know, again, would be one that you guys could do, and I can send you the other information as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, send me that, cause I'll definitely wanna set up a meeting with them. Now, Dave, real quick, the first line under service, the 100 mega, of the fiber internet, that $425 a month, that is actually goes to your company.
No, that includes both the fiber usage and the cost of the internet service that Lightspeed Hosting is providing. That's both in one. Yeah, we don't break out our cost because you're not gonna get an invoice for it. So we work with the carrier to come up with an appropriate cost.
So you're billing the carrier's billing us.
Correct.
Whatever our contract would be with the carrier, it's.
And if you have your first call to the carrier, and if the carrier believes it's a fiber issue, their network operations center knows how to work with ours, you don't get caught in the middle. The one thing you do get that's a little different, is that I am an advocate for you. So if an hour goes by and you have an outage, which hopefully it doesn't happen, but if you did, you could call me, and I have an executive support, in this case, a line right to the CEO, that I can call them and say, you're taking too long in Lafayette Township, and I can escalate that for you.
And if the carrier isn't performing to our satisfaction, he's got 13 other ones
Then I have 13 other carriers.
that he can work with us to put in.
And we go to bat for you. So it's a little different setup than a traditional carrier.
I mean, does it behoove us to send out a request for bids from 3 separate ones, or?
Like through Dave? I mean, I guess.
Yeah,
Dave,
we
he
normally
probably could.
do that for customers if they ask, if they want, or if there's somebody says, I need to connect to Austria. So, which we have a company here that does that. So, you know, I need to use Crown Castle, or I use the AT&T, one of the larger ones. We'll set that up automatically through our fiber. Some people say, I would like 3 quotes. So if you need to RFP it, we can solicit all 14 carriers and get you those quotes too. It's just part of our consultative approach that we take. Except we're a community network, so we're a little different than the commercial networks. And if you'd like to set up a meeting, if you can just get your availability to Justin.
Yeah.
Or I'll leave a card, or Justin has my V card.
Yeah, I'll get it to both.
Send that over
Yeah.
and I'll make sure that we get a meeting set
I
up
would
with
like
you.
to do that. Thank you. All right, public participation. Anybody? Go ahead, sir. If you come to the podium. Sure. Hold on, Mark.
Do you wanna go first?
No, I wanna see you guys arm wrestle.
You'll win. No, he's younger. But you got bad looks.
Did you state your name for the record?
Sure, it's Brian Logan. My name is Brian Logan, live at 6838 Egypt Road. I'm gonna set the scenario up here. About June 26th in the evening, maybe 6:30 p.m., we had a house fire. My wife came home to find the house actually on fire inside the structure. At the time, she called 911, so LTFD responds. Assistant Chief Holzman just lives down the road from us. He responded on his own, came there while the alarm, was dispatched. He tried to make entry as best he could to assess what was going on. Unfortunately, there was so much heavy smoke that without an SCBA, there's no way you could see anything on there. So he backed out everything else, and he called it in for an additional alarm, which brought more mutual aid, which is great because the thing was probably in the stage of maybe some fire, some smoldering, but the intense smoke and acrid toxic vapors, man, it had been bad. So it brought additional alarm with mutual aid, so we had tankers from probably York Township or wherever we had them, or Medina might have sent something. But their response time was great. I mean, when you live in a township, I grew up in the city a long time ago. You gotta understand when you come out to a township and some of the firefighters are less than full time, it takes a longer time for a response. But they were there quickly on there. Matter of fact, MPD was there with the police. They were there. The medics, I think even LST might have responded. So it was outstanding, and the police were great too because they're just always an asset on there. Well, I guess so. Right now it's not livable. We're doing the process of gutting it and cleaning and rebuilding and everything else on there. But when it comes down to what I'm getting at is the levy, because I'm usually not a levy guy. I'm always levy for police and fire, yeah, because I'm getting older, and if I roll a 7 at night and somebody needs to come and revive me, I want the medics, or I want somebody there quickly on there. So when it comes to police and fire levy, I give it a thumbs up. But as you get older and you get closer to retirement, money is tight. Money's always tight. So I understand that levies, it costs more. But the schools have no problem trying to ask for it. It's every other season it seems they're asking for it. But when it comes to this, I'm for it. And the business that I'm currently in, we deal with hazardous materials all the time on there. Bulk fuel, bulk chemicals, the Marathon Refinery. So I have a firefighting background on an industrial side, which is not that much different than a structural, residential, commercial side. But we get involved in a lot of things that are flanges, high pressure, propane, gasoline, everything else on there. I know what it costs to outfit a firefighter because we spec the equipment too. So it's not unusual for a fella or a gal that has turnout gear, boots, helmet, bunker pants, coat, everything, gloves, $8,000. And that's before a person could even put on an air pack, what we call an SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus, and go in. You could truck on another $3,500 to $4,000 for that. It's extremely expensive to outfit firefighters. And then we have EMTs also on there, so it's extremely expensive to send everybody to school. We had to be sent to Texas to that type of firefighting because they just don't do that up here. So we had to go to Texas and get it done there with some of the oil companies. But what I'm saying is I'm in for the levy. I'm for it because I just know what it costs. And they have personnel here at all the time would be great. Now, I know it's not Medina, and I know it's not Brunswick, but these guys and gals work hard on there. And they ain't making a ton of money. That's for sure on there. So I would say they're doing it also for the love of what they do on there, because it's rough, and the trainings, it takes quite a bit. So I guess what I'm saying is, in my case, I approve the levy on there, but I don't do a lot of social media either, but my wife's on it. And she shows me things where residents say things, oh, Chief Kavanaugh, he's not here right now. He's comparing it to Medina, he's comparing it. I don't see that at all. I don't see him comparing anything. I would just like it, just to consider ourselves here. I don't care what Medina does. I could care less what Brunswick does on there. It's Lafayette on there. because these guys and gals did a hell of a job. Our house would have been down to nothing, really. If they wouldn't have got there, it would have been bad. It would have been, we'd have been starting from scratch again. So between Assistant Chief Holzman, Chief Kavanaugh was there, a lot of firefighters were there, did an outstanding job. So when they need money, I fully understand what they need. I know what it costs. I know what it costs for apparatus over here. You don't get anything for 200 grand. There's no way you get anything. You don't get anything hardly for 400,000 anymore. It's crazy what these things cost on there. So what they're asking for, I believe, is, I'm for it. I just wanted to say that because I don't attend enough meetings, but I plan to on there. But they do a good job, so I don't know if it convinced anybody, but it convinced myself, because really, poking that little yes for a levy sometimes is very difficult, unless it's for fire and EMS and police, so that part is good. The second thing real quick is, there's been some, also on that doggone social media, that thing is bad news, man, that's why I don't do it. But,
Better off for it.
yeah, it's just, yeah. But my wife, she's on this, she sees this stuff on there. They get down also on the service department, on the roads and Rick and everything. They say they don't mow anymore, they don't do this. That's funny, because on Egypt Road, right, the guy, his crew, Tom, whoever runs the mow trim, has already been there 3 times this year. In previous times, before these guys were in charge, they never came around and did anything. We never got anything mowed from that previous time. So the guy and his crew has already come 3 times. So if you get 4 times, it's great on there, because they gotta switch over to snow and ice now. So I'm gonna say, I wish Rick was here to hear this. They do an outstanding job also. We've had drive pipes collapse on it. I've had erosion on that part of Egypt Road because of the ditches on there. And the road bedded under it. It's just certain areas, it happens. But they've always fixed those, on each side of the culvert on there for us on there, and they've always done great at snow and ice. They're great. They do better than the county and ODOT. So, and that's my take on everything else on there. So I just want to say, thanks for the time and listening on there. I appreciate the time you guys gave me to speak.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thank you.
Going along with that fire department, I hope there's somebody here who knows how to run this defibrillator, because after what I got to say, probably gonna need it for a couple heart attacks. I'm actually gonna say something nice. For once, it ain't gonna be negative. And I'm glad I can say that. It took a while, but I look up here and I see microphones and I can hear in the back.
Yes.
I don't know how many months it took. I ain't taking attendance like school.
You mean years?
Well, I don't know about that, but bottom line, something nice, it finally got done. And I think we need to give them a compliment. Oh, yeah. And look, nobody had a heart attack. But along with that, I can't be good forever, you know that. I still got a bug and you know where. Why is Lafayette Township losing, wasting, whatever word you wanna use, our money? We've got $400,000 sitting around getting nothing. We went through this, and I'm gonna say April. I don't even wanna go back 2 years, because I wasn't around back then to come to these meetings. Let's just go back for what I know. April, May, June, July, August.
It's actually been 6. I kept
Well,
count.
I'll count
It's
4,
been
you wanna
6.
count
I
6,
count.
fine, we're not gonna split hairs, but you know what? $400,000 sitting there doing nothing. When we're missing the opportunity
Yeah.
to get 3% in Huntington, this isn't a big secret, we've been over this for months now. I'm tired of beating a dead horse, this ain't the Kentucky Derby. And here we are losing 3% times 400, call it $500,000 if you want. That's $12,000 a year. 4 months, 6 months, count how you may, I'm gonna count 4. That's $4,000 gone. Stupid! You know that's my word. And I think it fits precisely here again. That's stupid to be passing up $1,000 a month. And I have 1 3-letter word. Why? Why is Lafayette still missing $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year? If you want to compound it, it gets worse than that, but I don't want to go there. Why is something stupid like this allowed to persist? I don't have an answer. I'd like one.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Michael Blar, Wagon Trail. I've got with me in my hand here a copy of the citizenship for those who want to be citizens of the United States of America. And I had to study this with my wife for about 2 years, and I learned a lot that I didn't know, and I was ashamed that I didn't know a lot of these things. I'm gonna read you question 55. Now, there's 100 questions, and you have to know all the answers to every question. And she passed, by the way. Question 55. What are 2 ways that Americans can participate in their democracy? Join a community group, like the Lafayette Township Fire Department Association, give an elected official your opinion on an issue, or publicly support or oppose an issue or policy. You know, at the last meeting, my wife made some comments. She exercised her right, made some comments that she was concerned about in our community. Within 12 hours, she received threats, a number of threats, one of those being a death threat from a person who doesn't even live in our community, who claimed that he got a copy of the video of her comments before it was even released. Now, only 2 people made copies, made videos in this room. And I know who both of those people are. And I know that one person didn't provide that video for him. So that only leaves one other person. Later, my wife was told that she needs to keep quiet at these meetings, not to go against the grain or ruffle feathers. Trustees are receiving a copy of the Constitution, condensed version with the amendments. Amendment number 1, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. A redress of grievances. That means if you see something going wrong in your community, you have the right to come forward and voice your opinion about it. And this is the place that we can do that. This is the place that we get to voice our opinions about things that we see going on in our community. Well, my wife was concerned about things going on as a member of the Township Fire Department Association, and she asked for some documents, which she has been refused those documents, even though she's a member. So we were told to get the documents that we could publicly. So I went and did that, and I got a copy of the association's tax returns for 2023. And there are some red flags for me in these returns, because I want to know where the money that I've donated and the time that I've donated is going. Now, I don't know about you, but how many of us in here volunteered our time or our money for the pancake breakfast? Many of us did. We look at the breakfast for 2023, and we see that there was $23,382 donated. $23,000 from one event. Well, did any of that money go to pay for food or beverages? Nope, 0 listed here. But $10,556 did go somewhere else. I'd like to know where that money went. It's my donation. I have the right to know where my donations go. That's part of being a nonprofit. You have to share that. You have to provide that information. Well, Schedule 0. Schedule 0 is very interesting because you have to write down the depreciation on equipment that you own. The association owns the equipment valued at $73,612. Cost of a Dodge Ram Cummins diesel. they took $36,312 of depreciation. Now, I contacted the IRS and I said, what kind of things could you take that much depreciation on? And they said either a vehicle or a piece of property. Now, I'd like to know what vehicle or piece of property my donation is paying for. I have the right to know that. Who has use of this vehicle or this property? Where is this stuff? It's very disappointing. We have a fire department in need, and over the past 5 years, including this year's 2024, which they haven't filed the records for yet, the department has taken in, or the association has taken in almost $300,000 of our money. Our money. 300,000. Here's the records right here, Mr. Kyle. Here's the records right here.
You are so funny, man.
You wanna see it?
I don't need to see them. That's so funny though, that's hysterical.
There it is. Your own accountant reported it up to 2023, 256,000. So keep laughing, Mr. Kyle.
I plan to.
Keep laughing.
Yes, sir.
We got the letter from your attorney,
Yes, sir. I know you
who's
did.
refusing to give any information out. But just remember this, if we go to court, every record gets subpoenaed. Everything you've done, every email message you've sent, everything.
Okay.
Okay? You know, when I was a kid, I watched a show called The Lone Ranger. Some of you might remember that show. You know,
Oh, Silver.
Tonto.
when the Lone Ranger and Tonto chased after the criminals and chased them up into the hills. When those criminals went up into the hills, they covered their tracks because they thought that the Lone Ranger and Tonto wouldn't be able to find them if they covered their tracks. Recently, someone has been on a mission to distance the association from the township, deleting a number of social media posts. But what that person needs to remember is that concerned citizens like you all over the township have taken pictures of those posts and recorded those posts. And now that you have deleted them, cover your tracks. It only serves to make you look more guilty. But keep sweeping. Keep covering it up. Oh, and the person who threatened my wife just so happened to be a person who was threatening the former trustee, Mr. Macron, before his death. That greatly disappointed me, that person was part of the friendship group of one of the trustees' wives and was now threatening my wife. Well, I got news for you. If you think my wife is going to be the next person to end up floating in Chippewa Lake, you got another thing coming.
That's right. That's right.
I wish to address an issue that affects not only myself but also the residents of our township. When a resident speaks up on matters pertaining to our township, it's unacceptable to endure behaviours but ones who threaten and disseminate false, slanderous statements to attack that resident for asking questions on township issues. The above actions aim to form a group of support to intimidate and shut down reasonably minded individuals who have the constitutional right to question public officials on their actions, especially when those actions contravene the duties that officials should uphold while in office. Those individuals also seek to divide the township and create a hostile environment for those who seek clarification or hold officials accountable. Due to recent public comment made by me and by the trustees, Fullerton's wife, Jo Fullerton, and Steve Kyle, I feel it's essential to set the record straight here tonight, and it's sad that I've got to do this. The statement made about me is not only untrue but also slanderous, damaging my character and my reputation, and it's important to clarify these matters publicly. On social media, Jo Fullerton, the trustee's wife, posted my name and a link to my account, falsely claiming that I am against the association. That statement is not only untrue, but has also caused significant interactions within our township and beyond. But let me me be clear, I am not against the association. In fact, I'm for it. And simply, I ask clarification on the finances and for its uses. Requesting clarification is simply acceptable as a member. What is not acceptable are the actions of Joe Fullerton and Steve Kyle. I did not want to make this comment here in public, but their actions have caused a lot of harm, and to the point that I received a death threat. Anyone who's ever received a death threat knows what it must be like to have to watch your back constantly from here onward. I moved into this country believing that I was going to be safe. I moved into a township believing this. Now I don't feel safe. And that is not something we should have in our township. Ty, I do not appreciate your wife and your friends threatening me. Despite my request for them to stop, they continued. And before you claim that you knew any of this, you went on to like your wife's post and did nothing to stop it. And instead you allowed your friends to further attack me. I publicly asked in the association's Facebook group for them to stop and to remove my name from the post, to retract the false information and to restore my post, which they have removed and blocked me from the group. To clarify, I am a member of the association and I volunteer my time and donated money to it. And as a member, I requested the bylaws, the minutes of the meeting and receipts, and that these false statements be removed from the Facebook post that they've created. I've asked them to stop the threatening comments and the threats outside of social media. All these requests were denied, and they further published false information about me in that group again. I requested information from the Associate's Treasurer, Joe Fullerton, and the President, Steve Kyle. As of today, they still refuse to provide these to me. They're also hiding the meeting date and the time from me. So Steve, when is our next meeting? Can you provide me with the date and the time and the location so I can attend this meeting as my right as a member?
You're no longer a member.
I am.
Nope.
Steve, will you remove the posts and the lies that you put up about me? I'd also like a public apology from yourself and Joe Fullerton for the lies and actions that have led to the threats, as well as slanderous comments that you have harmed my reputation and good character. Your actions exceeded beyond our township and deliberately reached associations throughout the United States and beyond that. Due to your actions as the Associate President and Joe Fullerton as the Treasurer, I am requesting that you both step down from the association. You have both acted unprofessionally and dishonestly, using your position to harm a member and the township resident. I would like to formally note that the recording of the meeting in which my comment was made last month had been edited, and despite any narrative provided by the individual who recorded it and uploaded it over the recording was handed to the responsible party, believed to be our fiscal officer, it became a public record. Altering a public record constitutes a felony of various degrees. The damages inflicted upon me have been severe and are still ongoing. Furthermore, the misuse of this public record has exasperated the harm by fueling a hate campaign against me. The repercussions are so severe that I am compelled to make this a public matter and to put this on public record. For those who wish to see the truth and understand why I have made a public comment tonight on this matter, I have with me today all the evidence for anyone to be able to read. It includes the messages from Joe Fullerton, who purposely attacked me on social media, leading to these threats. Our trustee not only knew about her comments, but supported them by liking this post. And as a trustee, Ty, you hold a position of great responsibility, and you swore an oath to the people of our township. And it's my personal opinion that you have violated by breaching the trust of the people.
That's your opinion.
Oh, you're an ass.
A dumbass.
Let's you don't need to make comments like that often. I want to make a statement right now. The fire association is completely separate from the trustees of the fire district. It's completely separate. The Board of Trustees has no authority over the Fire Association at all. So if you request records from the Fire Association, it's not something that we can do. They're not subject to the same.
I wasn't requesting them from you, Chris. The trouble is the water's got muddied with the association and the township. In recent days, I'm going to say now, in recent days, the township website got changed. The association used to be directly on that township website page.
And it's a separate entity.
It's not.
It is.
Because now, what someone did on there was put a landing page on there that links to it, which still takes you to the township page.
I don't know.
It does.
If they link
Which
to it. I don't know
means
what that is.
it's part of the township matters.
Just because someone links it doesn't mean that we.
It shouldn't be on the township page then at all. And the only people who
I
can
do
link
wanna-
it,
I do want to weigh in here because before we start, the Firefighters Association is absolutely a completely separate entity, so
it is.
getting
Yeah.
into their business is not within our purview. But the statement that you're unaware of what's on our website, again, maybe I heard your statement wrong, but it is absolutely 100% false. You were copied on the email requesting a legal opinion from the prosecutor's office that we're still waiting on, that links directly to the township webpage, which does have on the township webpage a description of the Lafayette Township Firefighters Association, which was gonna bring me to a conversation we were gonna have later tonight. But there's a statement, the very first sentence on the page says, the Lafayette Township Firefighters Association is a group of individuals with the sole purpose of supporting the Lafayette Township Fire Department. The problem with that statement is, we sat in this very room last month where the president of the association claimed that that is 100% not a true statement. So we have an issue as a township that we are misrepresenting what the fire association is. So again, I don't disagree that the fire association is a separate entity, but we need to make sure that we as a township are making a very clear delineation between them. They are no different than any other private organization within the township.
Correct.
And as such, I do believe that it would be prudent for us to remove all references to the Firefighters Association from official township business. I also think it would be unfair to the association if we didn't have a discussion as to their preferential use of township facilities. Again, I was hoping to have an answer from the prosecutor's office on that, but given the fact that they are a private entity, they should not be treated any different than any other private entity within our township. And as such, I'm not sure that it's a good course of business for us to allow them to continue to use the fire department for their activities.
I would, off the cuff right now, disagree with that, but I would like to hear from the prosecutor. I mean, we can talk about that in the future. Makes sense. As we're taking it off the
It does,
website,
but I think it's
we can-
extremely unfair to the fire association, because if the prosecutor's office comes back with an opinion that says that it would be inappropriate for them to do so, they're going to be left with a significantly shorter amount of time to make alternative arrangements for their fundraiser later this year.
Unless they use it. I mean, there's the opportunity, or the possibility is they might use the service facility, so.
Sure.
Hi, Steve Domonsky, 6755 Lake Road. I was gonna make a comment about the levy tonight. But sitting here, I've been very, very upset about what I've seen happen here tonight. I don't know these two people here who came up and speak, but I respected what they had to say. And to sit there and have someone disrespect them and laugh at them while they're trying to make their point is absolutely disgusting. And Chris, there's a note on that door right now that says we're supposed to show respect to people. You never said a word to him.
That's right.
That was absolutely disrespectful what he did. And there's no call for it. People are allowed to have their opinion and give it.
And so is he.
But that's not what
So we can
Oh,
sit in our
no.
chair and yell out and laugh at people when they give their remarks? That's what you're saying is okay?
No, we should not.
Okay, they shouldn't be.
There's enough of that that goes around in here. All right, anybody else?
a couple residual questions. First, Linda Collins from 129 Shady Slope. I had a couple residual questions that I'm not clear on the answers. And that was on a couple of meetings ago, we talked about a $100 cell phone that somebody was having. I was wondering if we got to the bottom of that.
We have not.
For,
We have not been able to get a hold of the AT&T folks.
so we're still paying the bill.
We are still paying the bill,
Okay.
but it should be corrected.
And hopefully we'll get our money back.
Hopefully it'll be corrected, yes.
All right.
You can only go 6 months back.
And then the second thing is the Westfield
Stop
banking.
interrupting. Renee, Mike, no more interrupting.
Please.
Is the Westfield banking situation. Where are we on that? And
I don't know, let's ask Mark Frederick. Where are we at on that, Mark?
We're about 6 months or 2 years, depending how you count, of wasted money that we're missing from Lafayette Township coffer.
And-
Because that money's sitting there getting nothing.
It's sitting
When it should
in
be
Westfield
earning
Bank?
interest.
Is it sitting in Westfield Bank?
No, because you can't put it there legally,
How are you losing money if it's not in there?
because you had the alternative with a smart, wise decision. to
It's
move
still
that money
sitting
to
in Huntington,
You-
Mark.
Wait a minute, I'm talking. If your mother's never taught you not to interrupt,
Yeah,
then shut up and
like
learn.
you
and
just
I'll teach you.
interrupted me. We're both done talking. It's not in Westfield Bank.
I agree, it's not, it's losing money, because it could be over there at Huntington.
So I'm confused again, because I thought we made a motion to move it to Star.
There has been money put in Star. We did fulfill that.
Fire district, the motion that was made for Star Ohio funds was to take the reserves for the fire district. which
Right,
is-
so that is there.
There's $1 million in the Star
Okay.
account.
And then we still have the money, it's not in Westfield, it's in Huntington. And that I understand. I just wanna know where we are, because we have different options. We're waiting for Westfield to become a legal participant in this quoting system for the money. So so we're still waiting for Westfield approval?
No, actually, it was at the prosecutor. Justin had chimed in on the email, is asking about a date, and the assistant prosecutor had emailed back and said everything's good to go, so.
Okay, so when
We
do
haven't
we,
proceeded yet.
so when do we expect to make that move?
Probably soon.
Okay, all right, and then my third topic that I would like to talk about is the fire levy. And I'm gonna give a copy, you guys are gonna take my word for it, and then these guys here can make sure that I am quoting their literature correctly. In November of last year, when Justin went when he went for election as a trustee, there was this piece of paper was sent out to everybody. And the third bullet point says, Lafayette Township has prepared a budget and has been in compliance with the county and the state auditor's requirements. At the end of this year, the carryover for the monies for the fire department will be approximately $750,000. The fourth bullet says, in talking with our current board members, which was not Justin, which Marty was still on the board at that time, there are no current plans to place a levy on the ballot in March of next year. Well, we made it through March all the way to November. They needed an extra 6 months to spend the $750,000. Now, I will tell you, anybody that's gone to the meetings for the last 6 months knows that I've been here every month. And I usually sit in that chair and I'm undisrupted. So I say this with tongue in cheek. All those interruptions have been from my cardiologist. So I need the fire department and the rescue department as much as anybody does in this room. But what I really need is fiscal responsibility for the money that we give these people. And it seems to me that we had a choice where we could have said, okay, we're gonna give you salaries, A, we're gonna give you an ambulance, B, and that's where the money's gonna go. But we, our trustees, would not go for that. They wanted a blank check. That is why we need to stand firm on making this township fiscally responsible for the money that we give them. Thank you.
Good girl.
Oh, and one more thing.
I wanted to follow up on her thing.
One more thing. This is kind of like a disclaimer, but in the bottom of this piece of paper, anybody that wants to see it, it says that this postcard was funded by a multitude of concerned citizens of Lafayette Township. And today, you can tell that the multitude of citizens that put this paper out did not re-elect Marty. They are standing behind fiscal responsibility. And to our current trustees, I know for a fact, when you go in, you can say hi, how are you, have a nice day. But when you go into that voting booth and you have to click a yes or a no, nobody knows what you did. And the people that you think are on your side just may not well be.
Okay. Correspondence. You guys have any correspondence?
Just the one where Medina County Sanitary, Engineering Department from the Medina County Water Meter Reading Upgrade Project. They're gonna start putting those, automatic readers on everybody's, water meters. They're gonna start September 3rd and they should finish sometime February of next year. It's a countywide program. If you see people on your property by your water meter out by the road or wherever it's located, these people should be clearly identified with badges, gray uniforms, etc. If you have any questions, get a hold of the county department, county water department, so just let you know about that. And then you got that.
Is it the same one? Yeah, we talked about these letters earlier in the year. We get them, like, rule of thumb, we'll respond.
Yep, just let them know we're interested.
Yep, so we're all in agreement about that. Any other correspondence? Unresolved business, I've only got one thing that we briefly discussed last month. It's the Reese's Pond update down in Chippewa. Spoke with the Soil and Water Conservation District folks, and they said that there's really nothing they can do. It's strictly a civil thing. The village owns it. It's a waterway. They're not impeding flow, so even the Soil and Water Conservation District can't step in and do anything. Other than that, I've got. Yeah, you guys have seen the 3 quotes from Rick on.
Yeah, just not to interrupt, but then you had that. Oh,
That's last.
sorry.
New business.
Yep, sorry.
Late last year, early this year, the health department had condemned the house at 6808 Spencer Lake Road, and then we commissioned the prosecutor's office to do some title searches on that property, as well as Palker Road. We no longer need Palker Road, but and we talked about at last meeting getting quotes to have the building demolished. The highest one was $14,000, and the cheapest one was $12,500. I would like to make a motion to approve the $12,500 for Albrecht Trucking to raise the building at 6808 6808 Spencer Lake Road. Pending my work with Mike Lyons with the prosecutor's office, I'm sure we get the proper bank
And we're gonna be able to,
notifications.
it'll be
It'd be
right on the tax,
correct.
the tax bill like the other ones, so we're protected, and we're
Correct.
not secondary lien or any
Yes.
garbage like that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
How long does it take to get back from the prosecutor?
I don't know, I'll work with him and draft a letter, we'll do whatever the required notice is for the bank. And then the last piece I have is the, national opioid settlement for Kroger. I'm assuming that you guys want to participate in that. There's really
Yeah,
not
and that's the
much cost to
resolution
us.
that the prosecutor's office had already
Yes,
sent out to us.
so it would be resolution 15, 2024 for us. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but, if you like.
Just read it.
Yeah,
so
it's
that-
a resolution to accept the material terms of the Kroger settlement agreement pursuant to the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding and consistent with the terms of the March 22nd, 2004 National Opioid Settlement Agreement. I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Ty?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
And I will vote yes as well, so get that signed and submitted to Laura. Adopted as of today.
Just, they wrote July on there.
I changed
Yeah,
the
okay.
dates to August, so. If you guys want anything else, I would make a resolution to pay the warrants of the township and adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned.
Can I say something?
Always wait till after the meeting.
It's adjourned now.
That's my last name, Slow. Thank you, and it's about time that we have the microphone.
You're welcome.